everyone. Uh, Good afternoon. My name is Father Dong, and I am an assistant priest at St. Mary of the Presentation Maji. And I'm here with Father Owen, and today we are just having a cup of tea, afternoon tea. And today afternoon tea is not normal because today we celebrate Father Owen's 40th anniversary of priesthood. So over the cup of tea today, our conversations is around priesthood. It's been 40 years since you got ordained, and how did you feel?
I can't believe that it's 40 years of priesthood today. They've flown by so quickly, those 40 years. And when I first went into seminary, which was another 7 years beyond that time of ordination, so we had 7 years of preparation, then we're ordained, and then those 40 years. So I've had 47 years of training actually, and I've enjoyed that immensely. The priesthood's been a great blessing to me, but I just have found that 40 years have gone so quickly. And in my first year as a young priest, I remember the priest I was with, he was an assistant, and he was celebrating, I think, 14 or 15 years of priesthood, and I thought, how, that's such a long time, that's going to be an eternity for me to get to my 14 or 15 years, and they come and went.
That's great. And do you remember at what moment or what day or what made you think of being a priest?
Yeah, I can't say that there was a particular moment, and I know some classmates in the seminary, there was a particular moment. One fellow I remember clearly, he said he was sitting on a rock at the beach, and he had that moment of the call to priesthood. But no, I can't say I ever had a particular moment. It's just from my being a young altar server, probably about year 5 or year 6, we out at Black Springs in the parish of Owen where we grew up, and I just had that sense when I was serving as an altar server that I wouldn't mind being like the priest that we had, and he was a very kind, lovely man, and I sort of had that sense I wouldn't mind being like him. And coming from a home where we were very faith-filled, and you know, the standard thing of we prayed the rosary every night, and Mum and Dad had great faith and were wonderful people, and so I suppose I grew up with that sense of faith and nurturing, and God was part of our life. And then our parents, Mum and Dad, getting us to do things for others like altar serving and reading at Sunday Mass. So I got that sense, as we all did, of doing things for others, and so that sort of blended in with that mix of knowing God and having that sense of love, and that sense of commitment, and a sense of doing things for others. And then with this lovely priest, I saw him giving his life for others and being kind and compassionate and thoughtful. And so that was where it started for me. I thought that's what I would like to be. I would like to be able to be kind and thoughtful and do things for others. So that's basically where it started, which probably about year 5 or 6, and that sort of kept going through teenage years. I thought of other things as well, but priesthood was always in the back of my mind, and then I was thinking I might be, I loved the outdoors, and so I thought I might become a National Parks and Wildlife officer. And then another time, because I like cooking, I thought I might be a chef towards year 10. And then the vocation director for our diocese came round, and it sort of crystallised a bit more for me then that's probably what I would like to do more than anything else. And so it sort of went on from there.
So when did you first discover your painting talent? Because I know that you are a good painter as well.
Yeah, I like painting. I haven't done as much as I would like, but I enjoyed art at home. We never did art other than a bit at school in primary, and my sister was a good artist, so I started sketching and just drawing at home, as a lot of kids do, and I found that I could draw well and I could get perspective reasonably well, and so I just enjoyed drawing and art. Not that I did a lot, but when I was in Cowra, based in Cowra, I had an artist who lived next door, so myself and a couple of other parishioners who liked art, we then formally did some oil paintings, and she was very helpful, and that's probably where I've done the best of my artwork, was there, and sadly I haven't done too much since then, but with COVID with us now, that's hopefully will give me a chance now maybe to spend a bit of time when we can't get out as much as we would like. In our pastoral work I'll probably pick up and hopefully do a little bit more, and might do a little bit of see how my hand is at abstract painting. So watch this space.
It's very good. So you're talking about your vocation, your calling is not something like very dramatic, but it's a subtle call, and you discovered in yourself slowly and developed slowly into your adulthood, and you did say about priests, but that particular priest who inspired you to become a priest. So do you see priests in today world different from the priest in when you were a child?
In some ways yes, in some ways no. I think the image I had of the priest was because I probably only saw him mainly at Mass, and when we were at school the priest would be there in the school, so it was probably more that cultic image of the priest at Mass. But I still had that sense that he gave his life, he was dedicating his life to his parish and his parishioners, even though I only saw part of that giving of that life. I sort of had a sense that everything he did was for help to help others. But my image probably was more at priesthood and just in the school, doing school masses. Whereas now, having been a priest myself, I know that cultic aspect, saying Mass and hymn confessions, is probably only a very small part of actually what we're called to do. And our life out of the presbytery and out of the church is basically takes up most of who and what we are, or for me. Your time in the parish with parishioners is only a small time, and one of the priests who was teaching us in college when we were in the seminary, when we were at Manly in doing theology, he wrote up on the board, a day in the life of the priest, and he asked us, what's the life of the priest? What are things that the priest does? And different students put their hand up and said, saying Mass. So he wrote that up, and saying our prayers, doing the divine office. So he wrote all those things up, and then he said, yes, now what else? And what are you going to fill in the rest of your day? Because different ones had mentioned saying Mass and saying our prayers and maybe doing this or that. But there was a whole lot of the rest of the day was left, which was to be filled up, of course, with out visiting parishioners, visiting hospitals, nursing homes, schools, then interviewing couples for marriage and baptisms, and then the whole funeral thing too. So the day really was quite busy, over and above just those prayer and Mass, which are at the heart of who we are. That's what gives us the sustenance. So
he didn't mention anything about tennis?
No, sadly. But we soon put him right with the sense of sport. He probably had mentioned that maybe an hour for recreation or something. I can't just quite remember that, but I know they mentioned some of the other things. There was a whole lot of the rest of the day was left to be filled in, and of course now we know that a lot of the priests, when we were in seminary and then as young priests, the priests often got together on a Monday to play golf, mainly play golf, and then mingle socially and have a meal and maybe a lunch and a dinner, and then they would go back. And that's probably something that's changed quite a lot now. There's not so many priests play golf, and there's not so many play tennis. There's only a few of us actually play tennis. But yeah, I enjoy tennis, and it's been a great blessing for me all through life. I played tennis as a youngster. I played cricket as a youngster. I played junior rugby league. So sport was very much part of our lives. And then on days we'd just go down. We had public tennis courts at Black Springs where we lived, and so we'd often go down there. Me and my young cousin was my same age. We would go down and play all day. Then we just played in local comps, and so tennis has been part of our life, and it's been a great blessing. I've enjoyed it immensely. It's probably one of the best things.
Thank you very much, Father Owen, for your time and your great wisdom and your joy that you share with us in your priesthood. And thank you on behalf of the parish. Thank you for your leadership. And on behalf of everyone, I wish you a very happy anniversary. And we wish that you have many more to come.
Thanks, Don.
So thank you, Father.
Appreciate it very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm hoping to be around for another 40. What cannot walk but always runs?